Well, you got a question for me?
Yes, I do. I have a 12-year-old Shih Tzu named Bella.
I lost my dad 2 years ago, and I'm just really hoping that maybe he has some message for me.
He's 35 years old, young, got his whole life ahead of him. It's just so heartbreaking, and we just don't even know what we can do for him. I don't know. We're stumped.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Ask Julie Ryan Show. I'm so delighted you could join us this week. My intention in doing this show is to provide information, insight, and comfort to people all over the world by helping to answer life's unanswerable questions. We got a whole bunch of callers on hold, so we'll get to them in just a minute. A couple of things I wanted to remind you of. This is the first Thursday of the month, so I'm going to be giving away a free session a little bit later in the show, so you want to be sure and listen. Each month it's fun to choose somebody who gets a free 1-hour session with me valued at $250. And the last several have told me they've been driving to work and they're listening to the show early in the morning and they hear their name called and they're squealing and screaming in the car. So it makes it really fun. I give away a free show every month, and it's just because if you don't have the money to do a session with me or something's going on and you need to talk to me, it's just something that I can do for people who really want to chat for an hour. In order to do this, all you have to do is leave a review. Anywhere you listen to the show, whether it be on YouTube or on any podcast channel, and just let us know what you think about the show. And then we do a random drawing of people who've submitted a review. Basically, just submit a review. So we've got that. Also, while you're doing your holiday gift shopping, AskJulieRyan.com, we got all kinds of fun things there that are different. Just not another purse or another pair of socks, but you can give people a session. You can book a session with me and do it for a gift. You can buy my books. They're all on the website. They're all available on Amazon. You can also sign up for a training, either the in-person training. The next one's going to be in May in Chicago, or in the fall, in the fall in Atlanta. We're going to go Atlanta again. And then I have an online training. So that's a really good gift to do. And then we've got a resources page there with all of the items that I talk about on the show. They have links and they all have discounts. So you can get anywhere from a 20% to a 60% discount on the things I talk about on the show, like the gut biome test and the minerals and the algae and the face cream and stuff like that. So AskJulieRyan.com, included in your shopping list. Okay, Chris, I'm ready. Please bring in our first caller. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, girl?
I'm okay. Thank you.
Terrific. Where are you located?
I'm in Keller, Texas.
Keller, Texas. All right. Terrific. Well, you got a question for me?
Yes, I do. I have a 12-year-old Shih Tzu named Bella, and she's got some health problems, and she's got a bad heart, and she's got bad kidneys. And recently, we found out that she has a mass on her bladder, and the test couldn't tell us if it was in the bladder, out of the bladder, or if it was malignant or not. But she's got so many health problems that we're not planning on treating it. We just want to keep her comfortable. But I was wondering if you could scan her.
Sure.
So I would know if it's malignant or not.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect into you and then from you to Bella. So those of you that are first time listeners or watchers, here's how this works. I raise my vibrational level to the level of spirit, because we're all spirits attached to a body having a human experience, right, Miss Pam? We all know that.
Yes.
And so I'm going to close my eyes. I'll watch a laser beam come from my body here in Birmingham, Alabama. It's going to hook into you in Texas. And then I'll watch that laser beam go from you to Bella. And then I'll have a hologram of her in my mind's eye. And it's as if I'm looking at an X-ray or a CT scan or an MRI. There will be a healing that will occur as soon as I get her on my radar, as soon as I have a picture of what's going on. And I'm going to describe it to you in detail. So I want you to envision everything I'm seeing, because that'll help her integrate the healing into her body. Everybody listening and watching, you do the same thing. And that's the thing I love most about this show is if you guys can envision what I'm talking about and what I'm describing, it's a global healing that happens to everybody that comes on the show that wants a healing, or any dog or any other animal that comes on. So, it's really a bargain. It's free, and you get all these billions of people around the world zapping on your dog. So here we go. Here comes my laser beam from Sweet Home, Alabama, heading to you in Texas. All right, got you. Going to Bella. Oh, she is really cute. She's a cutie pie. Oh, my goodness. She's a foo-foo girl, but she's really cute. Okay, going in. All right, a little tiny bladder going in there. It looks like it's inside to me, Pam. Looks like it's inside her bladder to me, and it does not look malignant. Malignant, when I see something that looks malignant, it looks either really dark brown or black. Hers is pink. It's just a tumor. So what I'm doing is I'm encapsulating it. When I say I, that means spirit working through me and with me to help facilitate healing. I'm encapsulating it and then removing it and then putting a little stem cell energy in there to regenerate that bladder tissue. Stem cell energy is a light amber colored gel, has sparkles in it, reminds me of this watery hair gel when I was a kid in the 60s and 70s called Dippity Doo. Do you remember Dippity Doo? Are you young enough? Yeah.
Yeah,
Dippity Doo was but it was like blue or pink, wasn't it?
Oh, different colors.
Different colors. I know. This is just amber colored all the way. And then there's a vortex spinning outside of her body that's transforming the stem cell energy into a new bladder. The best news, Pam, is she's not dying at the moment, because I wouldn't be able to scan her if she was dying, because when a person or an animal is dying, the spirit exits the body through the top of the head and hangs on there for a while. And the spirit is the power source for the body. So when somebody's spirit's out of their body because they're dying, it's like I'm trying to look at an X-ray in a pitch black room without any electricity. So it doesn't work very well. But that's the best news. Yeah, let's talk to her. So
Bella, I was
Bella,
going to ask you if you could talk to her and see if there's anything she needs. She's a fussy eater. I have a hard time figuring out what to feed her.
Yeah.
She's laying here over on the couch.
Yeah. She's got a blankie, right, that she likes. Yeah.
Yes, on a pillow. Yeah.
Okay. On a pillow. Okay. Does she sleep in the bed with you?
Yes.
She does. Does she have her own blankie in the bed?
Yes.
Okay, good. She wants to be sure that she has a blankie with her. Okay. That's the big thing. So does she have one on the couch and in the bed?
Yes.
Okay, different ones. Perfect.
Separate ones.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's her big thing, is she wants that softness. She wants that warmth. She says she gets cold. She gets cold. And so she likes to be able to snuggle with the blankie. She really likes to be able to snuggle with you when she can on the couch or in the bed. So there's that. Is there anything more treats? They always say more treats.
I know.
Although I think she's winding down, and I think you know that. And so just enjoy her every moment that you have her. But she don't look like she's dying to me. Not right now.
That's good. Gives me peace of mind, because I just, I know that time will come. It's just, I hope we have a little more time.
Yeah. And remember, future events are fluid. So what I'm giving you is what I'm getting at this moment in time. It may be different tomorrow, next week, next month, but that's all I can give you is what I'm getting at this moment in time.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You are most welcome. Thanks for calling in. I hope she feels better. Happy holidays.
Same to you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
I'm terrific. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm so happy to actually get through.
Kim, where are you located?
I'm in Burlington, Ontario, Canada.
Oh, terrific. All right. You guys
Yeah.
have snow up there yet?
No, not yet. We had a little dusting this morning, but nothing major. No.
I talked to a client in Ontario this morning, and she said it was just kind of flurries this morning when we
Yeah.
were talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I remember I grew up in Ohio, Kim, and I remember as a little kid, we used to get so upset if we didn't have snow because how was Santa going to arrive? He can't land the
Exactly.
sleigh if you don't have snow. And
Yeah.
so I remember as a little kid fretting about that.
I
But you
know. And
guys,
it
good
is
chance you'll
beautiful.
have it.
Yeah. It is beautiful when it snows for Christmas, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, good. You got a question for me?
I do. I lost my dad
Mm,
about 2 years ago. Um, and I'm just really hoping that I might be able to connect with him.
sure.
Maybe he has some message for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me his first name, Kim.
Gunner.
Gunner. All right. Gunner, as soon as you mention him, they come right in. He's on your right side. And before we even ask him any questions or anything, our heads are big satellite dishes. So they receive and transmit frequencies. And in order to talk with any of our deceased loved ones or anybody that's deceased or anybody that's alive, we can talk to anybody, spirit telepathically. All we have to do is think of them. And then that tunes our satellite dish head to their frequency, like tuning to a radio station or a satellite TV station. And then it kind of opens up a two-way radio communication where we can say things to them and we'll hear things back. And how you know that it's coming from your dad, Kim, is it's that first thing that comes into your head, fast as you can snap your fingers. And then that's how
Okay.
you know it's coming from him. If you think about the answer for a second or more, that's going to be your brain talking to you. So re-ask
Okay.
the question or restate the statement, whatever it is you're saying to him. Before we even ask him anything, he's talking about ribbon candy, like the kind you see at Christmas time. You know what I'm talking
Okay.
about? Where it's hard
No,
candy,
like
but
a
it's
licorice?
no, ribbon candy it's kind of thick and it's hard candy like a lozenge, the hard
Okay.
Christmas candy that you'd suck on. But this
Yes.
looks like ribbons that kind of go in a curve and you'll see a block of it. So he's talking about
Okay.
ribbon candy. He probably had it when he was growing up and
Okay.
he wants you to get some and use it during the holidays and
Okay.
then think of him.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have
All
a
right.
question for him?
Um, I'd like to know, like everybody, I guess, is he okay? And is he with people? I don't know. I have so many questions, but then when you're nervous, it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yes, he's fabulous. He's around you all the time. He's around anybody and everybody all at the same time. This kind of makes our brains go a little wonky. I don't understand it. It's just what I hear from spirit. And what I hear from spirit, and he's telling me the same thing too, Kim, he's around your deceased loved ones when he's around you. So,
Okay.
how I can equate this is imagine everybody's part of the ocean. Let's say the ocean, is everybody in spirit is part of the ocean, whether the spirit's connected to a body or not. When we focus specifically on, for instance, your dad, that's like a drop of the ocean. So when
Right.
he's around the drop that is you, he's around the other drops of your loved ones who are around you too. And then when he's not necessarily around you, or maybe even at the same time, it's all the ocean. Does that make sense? So from
Yes.
our human perspective, we want to know that our loved ones are with their loved ones who have passed. And yes, they
Right.
are. And yes, they're with every spirit all at the same time.
Okay.
I don't think we're supposed to understand it from our human perspective, because I certainly don't, but that's just what I've heard literally thousands of times from spirit.
Okay. Okay. Can I ask you a quick health question too?
Can you hold that and then we'll come back to you if we have
Sure.
time? I'd like
Sure.
to get some other people on with their questions. So stay
Sure.
on and we may come back to you.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Happy
Thanks.
holidays.
Happy
Get that
holidays to
ribbon
you too.
candy. Get the ribbon
I
candy.
will.
Look it up. Look it up online.
Thank you.
Ribbon candy, Christmas candy. Okay.
I will do.
All righty.
Bye.
Thanks, Kim. Hi, Lindley.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, my girl?
I'm good. I'm good.
Tell everybody where you're located, please.
I am in Pensacola, Florida.
Okay, not too far from me.
Yeah,
Terrific. You got a question for me?
I do. I had called into the show maybe a month or two ago, and I had asked you about my grandma, and you had told me that she was in stage 6 out of 12 of transition.
Mhm.
Then my mom and I have gotten a really clear message that she will be leaving us on Christmas Day. And so,
Oh,
yeah, it was the day that she actually gave birth to her son that just recently passed. And so we think that that's why her soul is chosen Christmas Day. But I was just wondering if you could see what stage of transition she's right now, and if she is speaking on Christmas Day or if she's speaking of a date anytime soon.
yeah, absolutely. Remind me of her first name, please, Lily.
Her first name is Annie.
Annie. And Annie's in Pensacola with you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to connect you and from you to Annie. So here comes my laser beam. Just heading a little southeast from Sweet Home, Alabama. All right. Got you. Going to Annie. Annie's at phase 10 of the 12
Yeah.
phases of transition. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, it sounds like we're talking in secret code, Lindley. what we're talking about is as someone is dying, and this is going to happen with all of us, we're surrounded by angels and the spirits of deceased loved ones and pets. And as we get closer to death, those spirits change configuration. The angels start off in a circle, they open up to a horseshoe, eventually a straight line across the foot of the bed if somebody's in the bed. And as they get closer to death, there's a vortex that forms above the head, and it has a pull to it. Like it feels like the suction dryer at the end of the car wash. You know, when you drive through the car wash and they turn the dryer on at the end and it sucks all the water off your car. And what it does is it creates a vacuum to help the spirit evacuate from the body. So she is in phase 10. That vacuum is very strong. It's caused by angels on either side of her spirit bubble. What I was just talking about with Bella, the Shih Tzu. People and animals have this spirit bubble that is at the top of their head. It's how they hang on to the body as they're going through the different stages of transition. And so there are angels on either side of that bubble. And about phase 9, Lindley, their wings start to move and it creates this vortex that helps the spirit evacuate from the body. It's really a glorious scene.
That does sound beautiful.
It helps balance the grief and the heartache of losing someone we love. So everybody goes through the 12 phases, whether they die instantly, like in the case of a homicide or suicide, or whether they die over days, weeks, months, years. So she's very close. Let's ask her my 3 questions. Are you ready to go? Annie, are you ready to go? She's saying more than ready. Are you in pain? Does that sound right? Is she telling you she's ready?
That sounds very right.
Are you in pain? She's saying at times. at
Mm-hmm.
times. Is hospice involved?
No, not yet, because again, my mom and I received a very clear message that Christmas Day is when she was planning to depart. But her health, I mean, looking from the outside in, she seems like she's at a plateau, she's stable enough. And so that's why I was wondering, what's unfolding in the next couple weeks or so for her to reach stage 12 quickly.
Okay, well, I'll come back to that. So she's in pain sometimes. She's saying, so she's functioning, she's eating, she's walking around, she's doing all of that. Yeah, great. Okay, and then what do you need to say goodbye? She says she needs to say goodbye. Are there family members that she's waiting for them to come in for the holidays, perhaps, or what's happening there?
So she's from Indiana, where I'm from as well. And I typically go home for the holidays, but my family came down for Thanksgiving to see her because they had an inkling that she wasn't doing very well. But no one has planned anything for Christmas. And I'm kind of trying to rally everyone around that because I know what's coming and not everyone else does. So,
okay. All right. Everybody, of course, does this at their own pace. There is no routine. It's just going through the phases. So what you can do to kind of monitor this is you and everybody that's listening, you can get a free download of the 12 Phases of Transition chart at askjulieryan.com. Go to the 12 Phases of Transition tab. You'll see illustrations of what the different phases look like. Click on that. You can download it, save it on your phone. And then just ask in your head or aloud, what phase of transition is Grandma Annie in? And you'll hear a number. It's that first thing that comes into your head. Refer to the chart. She's at the end phases. Now, a couple of caveats here. I've seen people be in phase 12. I've thought that they're going to go before dawn, and they're still walking around 10 years later. So we can come in and out of the phases. It's not very common, but I've seen it happen. The other thing that can happen too, Lindley, is people can move around in the phases. Like tonight she's at 10. Tomorrow she may be at 6. Next day she may be at 9. That's not as common either. And lastly, people can stay in those end phases for a long period of time. There was a gal very early on when I started this show who called in for 2 years. Her dad was in phase 11 for 2 years. So her spirit's going to exit when it's ready to go, and nobody can do anything, to change that.
Is she saying anything about Christmas? Because I mean, the answer she gave you is very correct. She talks about death pretty openly, or she kind of hints at it. She's like, well, who knows how much longer I'll be around. And so I know her spirit knows, and that's why it's coming out that way. But is she saying anything about leaving around Christmas time? Because that was a pretty clear message that we received.
I'm getting a yes on that at the moment. My suggestion is for you to stay in town if you want to be with her.
I actually live with her. And so is there anything that she's asking that I can do to help her?
Just be with her. That's all I can get. So good luck with her. I would get involved with hospice. I would get hospice called in. You can use them 6 months before somebody passes. They're wonderful. They're a wonderful resource. And then also, Lindley, there's a show that I did with a death doula who's based in Fort Lauderdale called Suzanne O'Brien. So look that up in my show list and listen to that, because that's going to help you prepare for your grandmother's pass. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with all of that. You bet. Happy holidays. Enjoy every moment with her, and look for the little miracles, because they'll be plentiful as you go through this. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. We do this show every Thursday night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and 5 Pacific. Just go to askjulieryanshow.com and we'll get you right in and get you on and get your question answered. That's a lot of getting. but we'll help you with all of that. We post the information, AskJulieRyanShow.com, on all of my social media. Everything's at Ask Julie Ryan, and also in the show notes. So just look it up either on YouTube or on any of the podcast channels, whichever one you listen to. And then we also, it's on my website, AskJulieRyan.com, and we also send it out in a blog that goes out Thursday morning. And at the beginning of the blog, it always says, hey, doing the show tonight. So here's a reminder. So I'm trying to make it easy on you guys. AskJulieRyanShow.com. I mean, it's pretty easy. So you can do that. Also, when you're on my website, sign up for my newsletter. It's a blog that somebody has submitted online, a question, and then I answer it. And then also, as I was saying, lots of Christmas ideas. A lot of people give my children's books as Christmas presents to their kids or grandkids. The Angelic Attendants book, What Happens as We Transition, is a gift to a lot of people as well. And then the classes, I got the online class. That's a great gift. A session's a great gift, as I mentioned earlier. All these things are available at AskJulieRyan.com. Everything you need to know. Okay, let's go to the question this week. And I promise I'll get to the free winner here in a little bit. All right, this question comes from Carrie Ann. And Carrie Ann lives in Hazelwood, Missouri. And she says, hello, Julie. My dad hasn't had the greatest year health-wise. He's struggling with colitis and recently diagnosed dementia, and she has in parentheses, small vessel disease. He has a strong will to live and says he's going to beat his illness and will be healthy again. This afternoon, he came by my house to tell me about a vivid dream he had last night. He rarely dreams, but said he was able to see and remember every detail of his life, including every person's name, every situation, things he long forgot, and he was able to recall all of this with incredible detail. I asked him how he felt after his dream, and he said, incredible. He said he's never had a dream like that, and it was neat to go back and revisit everything. After about an hour, he left, and I immediately got emotional, happy and proud of the life he just described, but immensely sad to feel life without him. That's called anticipatory grief, and we all go through that when we know that we have a loved one at the end of their lives. She went on to say, would you happen to have any insight into what stage my father's in? That's the phases of transition, what Lindley and I were just talking about. And if the dream he described was maybe a life review, thanks so much. Many blessings to you, Carrie Ann. And here's my response. Hi, Carrie Ann. Sure sounds like your dad witnessed what many near death experience survivors call a life review. And it makes sense to me that your dad would have the opportunity to watch his life review as part of his end of life process. To get more information for you, I energetically connected to you and from you to your dad. He's currently in phase 7 of the 12 phases of transition. Now, that's when I wrote this, which was a few days ago. He's currently in phase 7 of the 12 phases of transition, which means he's surrounded by angels and the spirits of deceased loved ones and pets. As a free downloadable chart illustrating the 12 phases of transition, just go to my website, AskJulieRyan.com, click on the 12 phases tab, download it and save it on your phone, what we were just talking about. People can move through the phases quickly or take days, weeks, months, even years to pass. In addition, people can vacillate between phases and even come completely out of them. In his book, Death is But a Dream, Christopher Kerr, MD, PhD, discusses how his university-based research shows 90% of people experience dreams and visits from deceased loved ones and pets at the end of their lives. When our dying loved ones experience what could be called spiritual, I have that in quotes, events, we often think they're hallucinating. Be assured they are not. Hallucinations are upsetting, and these dreams and visits are comforting. Like her dad was saying, it was remarkable. It was incredible. He enjoyed it. As you go through this process with your dad, do your best to focus on how heartwarming it must be for him to have begun these seemingly miraculous encounters as he prepares to transition. For more information, please consider reading a copy of my Angelic Attendants, What Really Happens as We Transition from This Life into the Next, and then give it to your dad to read. Hope you and he find my book both comforting and enjoyable. Couple of things. First of all, my book, when Dr. Chris Kerr was on my show, I said, my book is like the yin to his book's yang. My book's the spiritual side. His book corroborates all of it with scientific research, which is great. I love it when woo-woo catches up, or when science catches up with woo-woo, which it does. It's starting to do even more because woo-woo's been around since the beginning of time. That's number one. Number two, it's very common, like Dr. Kerr says, 90% of people see their deceased loved ones and pets, spirits, at the end of life. When in our society, we hear our loved ones looking up at a corner of the room, perhaps staring at a corner, sometimes they reach up as if they're trying to hug somebody. Sometimes I've heard from clients that their dying loved one will pretend like they're petting a dog or a cat. And it's as if the cat's on their lap and they're talking to the cat. And they even go so far like a cat, like they'll run their hand up their tail. You know how some people do that when they're petting a cat. So don't discount any of that. Those are not hallucinations if they bring them comfort and joy. If they're upsetting, yes, that can be a hallucination. The other thing is, I had somebody say to me recently that their mother bit them at the end of her life. She was hallucinating. And that's not that uncommon either, because as the organs start to shut down, especially the kidneys, what happens is the body can't get rid of those toxins, and dementia-like symptoms can come in. So if that's happening, again, they're not hallucinating. It's just their body is shutting down. So keep that in mind. One last thing about dreams. When we have a dream and it feels like it's super high def, the colors are more vibrant, the feelings, the sensations are more tactile. We can feel them more. We wake up and the hair on the back of our neck is standing up, or the hair on our arms is standing up, or our heart is beating. That's a visit more so than a dream. Dreams are kind of, they're kind of muted and they're kind of fuzzy, but visits are very precise. You remember all the details, and that's a visit from your loved one. So if you want to have a visit from a loved one who's passed, just say, hey, meet me in my dreams, and they'll come visit you. So thanks so much, Carrie Ann, for submitting that question. I think it's a really terrific one that can help lots of people. Okay, let's go back to the phones. Hi, Angie.
Hello, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
You bet. Tell me where you're located.
I'm in Penticton, British Columbia, Canada.
Okay. Oh, we got another Canadian girl on tonight. Wonderful. Okay. Well, terrific. Welcome. Do you have any snow yet?
Not yet. Just lots of rain this year, which is very strange, but I'll take it.
Oh, good. Wonderful. Well, you got a question for me?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about my brother. His name is Alex. He has a lot of pain in his legs and his hips. I think it's joint pain. He hasn't slept in years because of this pain, and he's trying to go through the healthcare system here, but it's so slow. And he's in so much pain now that he can't even walk after he's done a shift of work at night. So I was just hoping maybe you could scan him and see what's going on there.
Sure. Where's he located, Angie? Is he near you?
Yes, he's in Penticton as well.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask his permission. I'll ask his spirit permission if I can scan him. If he says yes, I will. If he says no, I won't. It's an ethical thing with me. I don't scan anybody without their permission. So I'm going to connect into you telepathically. We'll ask him and see what he says. If he says no, then that's okay. I don't have a problem talking with his spirit, and we can get information from his spirit. The reason why I have that standard is because I believe if I'm scanning somebody without their permission, it's an invasion of their privacy. And if we just talk to their spirit's going to let us know what it wants us to know. It's kind of like, let's say your brother's got pneumonia. Well, he's going to tell you what he wants you to know, but you're not looking at his chest x-ray without his permission, kind of a thing. So that's how I come at this from an ethical standpoint. Okay, so here we go. Here comes my laser beam from Sweet Home, Alabama, heading up to you in Canada. Got you, got Alex. Alex, I'm talking to Angie. He goes, I know, it's fine. Cool. Did you talk to him about that you were going to call in tonight and ask? Good job.
I did, yes. I asked his permission.
Good job. All right. Usually the people that say no are 4-year-olds, like little kids. Like, I don't know. All right. It's hysterical. Okay. Let's see what's going on with you, Alex. Okay. He's got inflammation. Inflammation, Angie, looks like red fog on body parts. He's got inflammation in his low back, and it goes down his low back, like over his butt, and then over on the side where his hips are. It's like this whole swath of inflammation. Was he injured? Was he in a car accident? Was he injured at work? What happened?
He's been injured at work many times, actually. He's in construction, and he actually can't do that job anymore because he's injured himself. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Okay. All right. So I'm getting the inflammation calmed down. And the anti-inflammatory energies are royal blue color, Angie. Think of a refreezable ice pack. That's the color that I see. And it's when there's inflammation, it's almost like I'm trying to look through fog. I got to get that cleared out first so that I can see what's going on underneath that inflammation. So I got that going. So did he break his back at one point that you know of?
No.
Okay.
Not that I know of. I know. He fell through a 3-story roof building while it was being built, but I don't believe he broke his back.
Wow. Okay, because it's kind of jumbled in there. It looks like if you have building blocks and you have one on top of the other, but there's a couple that are kind of pushed over to one side it's not straight up and down, kind of a thing. So let's work on his spine first. Imagine there are 2 rods on either side of his spine. The one on the left and the one on the right are in position. And what they're doing, he's shifted to the right, his low back, as I'm looking at him from behind. So the one on the left is going to be stationary. I've heated up his spine with a laser to make it pliable, kind of like potter's clay. It needs to be pliable so they can make whatever they're making, a vase or a bowl or figurine or whatever. The rod on the right is moving very slowly towards the left and pushing all that spine and all those bones and stuff over to the left so that we can get them lined up properly. Just reminds me of building blocks that a child would use, where they're stacking blocks on top of each other and they're not straight. They curve a little bit. Okay, so got that going first. Okay, and then lasered again, that solidifies it, like back to a potter's example where they're done making the figurine, but they put it in the oven to fire it to make it solid. That's what I just watched happen. Okay, so now he's got degenerative disc disease, is what it looks like to me. He's got some discs that are deteriorating. There's a couple on the left side that look like they're deteriorating a lot. So slapping a little stem cell energy in there, light amber colored gel, sparkles, reminds me of Dippity Doo hair gel, kind of a watery consistency. Globs of that are going on. There's a vortex spinning around those behind his spine, and that's going to regenerate those discs to keep those vertebrae propped up. properly. There's this little netting that's put from the upper to the lower vertebrae to hold the discs in place. So think of goldfish netting that you'd use to get a goldfish out of a bowl, that really fine netting. Funny thing about this netting is when I do a healing on somebody and then I'll go back and work with them a couple years later, I don't remember the healing. I remember them, but I don't remember the healing. I'll say, did we do a healing on your back? Because I can still see that netting in place. But I normally don't see it unless in a healing I see it get positioned. So we got that going. It looks to me like his left hip is worse than his right. The energy went to his left hip. Does he complain about his left hip more? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he does. Yeah.
Okay. All right. The socket, you got the ball inside the socket in a joint. The socket on the backside is starting to disintegrate. So again, stem cell energy smoothing it on the socket. So he's got what's called bone on bone. I'm sure that's what the doctors have told him. That's what I'm seeing. And that's excruciatingly painful. So doing that, get that going, a little bit of stem cell energy on the ball, and then stem cell energy to put some cartilage in there to give him some padding. And then let's go over to the right side and do the same thing. He's going to be like the bionic man by the time we're done with him. So right side. Okay, the disintegration is in the same place on the back of the socket. So no wonder he's in pain. God love him. Wow. And doing that. The good news is the hips they're pretty easy these days. They do them outpatient, and most knees they do outpatient too. And they get them up walking a couple hours after surgery. It's really remarkable. And I'm an inventor of orthopedic surgery devices. So I was in a bazillion total joint surgeries. And back in the day, 30 years ago, they would dislocate the hip and throw the patient's leg over their, like the ankle would be up at their ear. And I mean, it was a big deal. But now it's outpatient and they get them up walking within a couple of hours. So it's a good thing. Yeah. Hopefully that'll help with him. Have him stay low on the food chain. Have him avoid anything that's refined. And that's going to help with the inflammation, keep it low. So sugar, bread, anything that's refined, have him try and avoid that. Just eat things that I say, if God made it, eat it. If man made it in a factory, do your best to avoid it. And that's going to help with his pain level and help with his inflammation. The other thing that I'm getting, and I just saw this thought just came into my head. I call these divine downloads. You know how you'll see commercials or maybe a documentary of athletes after they get done playing a game, they'll lay in a bathwater of ice.
Mm-hmm.
I get that can help with his inflammation. So I don't know that he wants to be in an ice bath, but certainly maybe in a bathtub of cold water or take a cold shower. That can help him. But I saw the image that came into my head was, of a guy at the end of a football game and he's sitting in a big tub of ice. So, and it helps them recover faster. So I hope that helps. You're a sweetie to call in for him.
Thank you so much. Yes, that helps. Even for him to hear it from someone else besides me, I hope will help, that as well. So thank you so much.
You are most welcome. Let him listen to the show. And so then you won't have to try and repeat everything. Thanks, Angie.
Excellent.
Happy holidays.
You too. Thank you so much.
You bet. All righty. As promised, we've got a winner this month for a free session with me. Again, if you want to be considered to be a winner, just go to wherever you listen to the show, whether a podcast or on YouTube, leave a review, and then your review and your name will be entered into the drawing. So drum roll, please. I'll keep my day job. All right. This one, this month for December, comes from somebody that their handle, how about that, is Refresh Time. And they're from Canada. And they say, Quote, I love Julie Ryan. She's so inspiring, loving, and intelligent. So many things that she talks about, and the people she's helping are incredible. I resonate with it completely. Thank you, Julie, for the wonderful healing work you do and your awesome sense of humor. I'm glad somebody thinks I'm funny. Ha! 5 stars for sure. So, refresh time from Canada, you have won a free session with me. So, just go to the Ask Julie Ryan tab on my website, askjulieryan.com. Ask Julie, put a note in there. Hey, I won the December free session. And my assistant Rachel will get with you and we'll find a date and time when we'll be able to chat for a whole hour. I'll get you for a whole hour. It'll be great. And we can talk about whatever you want. You know, I'm a buffet of psychicness. So we talk about deceased loved ones. We can do medical stuff. We can scan your pet, past lives, whatever, all the stuff we do on this show. And we cram a lot into that hour and laugh the whole time. So let us know. Looking forward to talking with you. Alrighty, let's go to our next caller. Hi, Pam.
Hi. Thank you so much for taking my call. It's
You
super
are
important.
most welcome.
I'm in Buffalo, New York. I know I've spoke to you before on a different matter, but this is like super time sensitive, I guess. We have a coworker / friend, kind of like the son my husband never had, that works for him. He's a hygienist at my husband's dental practice, and he was recently, like the last couple of days, just diagnosed with a super rare form of cancer. Like less than 7% of the population has this form of cancer. And he had a tumor removed right after Thanksgiving, but he's not getting any answers from doctors. He doesn't know what the next steps are, like if it has spread, if it's malignant, and he's 35 years old, young, got his whole life ahead of him. It's just so heartbreaking, and we just don't even know what we can do for him. We just I don't know. We're stumped. So I don't know if you could scan him or if you can see anything else.
Okay. What's his first name, Pam?
His first name is David.
David. And obviously he's in Buffalo, where you guys are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to connect to you and from you to David, and I'm going to ask his permission. And if he says yes, I'll scan him. If he says no, I won't, but we'll get information from him. We'll talk to his spirit. So here we go. Comes my laser beam from Sweet Home, Alabama, heading up to you in Buffalo. Got you. Going to David. David, I'm talking to Pam. Is it all right if I scan you energetically? He said, by all means. Okay, good. I don't know if you told him that you were going to call in, but it's always good when they say yes. Okay. So I've got the hologram that's him in my mind's eye. I'm looking at him from behind. Oh, well, it just turned to fit for me to face him. Where was the tumor removed?
It was near his heart. It's not a cardiac cancer. It's another form. It's called biphasic synovial sarcoma. Biphasic synovial.
The energy went to the right side of his neck, like down near where his collarbone, where his neck goes down into his collarbone. So let me see. I always go in and see where the energy goes, because it always goes to the most pressing area first. And I'm thinking there's lymph nodes there. So let's go in and look at those and see what's happening. He doesn't have the test results back yet from Thanksgiving, from when he had the surgery?
The only thing they've told him is that it's this rare form of cancer, and they're referring him to another hospital. Like we have Roswell Park Hospital, which is a big cancer hospital, but they're referring him to Strong Memorial in Rochester. I think because it's just so rare, they just don't know enough about it. And he was at a different hospital that the doctor took the tumor out. So they've had to send it to pathology. So they know that it's a cancerous tumor. They just don't know where it started, because it was by his heart, but it's not a cardiac cancer. So, but the heart, I guess, is a muscle, right? So it's a biphasic synovial carcinoma or sarcoma. I don't know.
All right. That's a mouthful.
Anyway,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going in there. It is in his lymph system. So let me, I'm pulling back out. It looks like it's metastasized to me. And I don't edit anything I get. I'm just the messenger. And the good news is everything can be healed. So I don't worry about editing anything. Plus, I don't think it's my place to edit. I believe Spirit's working through me and with me, and the information I get, I'm supposed to convey. Looks to me like it's metastasized. Here's what metastasized cancer looks like to me when I have somebody on my radar, Pam. It reminds me of a dairy cow. You know, dairy cows are white and it looks like somebody threw splotches of black paint on them. Mm-hmm. That's what metastasized cancer looks like to me. I see these black splotches throughout his body, primarily in his lymph system. So let's do a healing on him. I want you to envision everything that I'm going to describe. Everybody else listening or watching, do the same thing. We're gonna give him one big old healing here, a global healing. So first of all, DNA healing. 3 strands of DNA have come out. Okay, there's more coming out. There's 5 more. So there are 8 strands of DNA that have come out of an X chromosome. DNA looks to me, Pam, like a piece of paper you'd see inside a fortune cookie with a fortune written on it. Mm-hmm. DNA is the recipe that tells the cells how to behave. DNA is comprised of 4 nucleic acids, represented by 4 letters, A, T, C, G. One strand can have 100,000 letters, can have 1 billion letters on it. I'm watching those letters get rearranged. Imagine playing Scrabble in warp speed. Letter gets up and moved over to resequence the strand of DNA. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm watching happen. Once the strand is reconfigured, it snaps back into the X chromosome. So this is always one of the first healings that I see in somebody that is a cancer patient. We're going to layer the healings just from a time standpoint. We're going to do a bunch of them all at once. So when I'm layering healings, I feel like one of those plate spinner magicians, where you got the plate spinning, they spin the first plate, and then they do another plate going, and then another plate, and then they go back and spin the first one a little bit more. So that's what I'm doing on that. All right, let's do a lymph cleanse. Imagine all his lymph fluids in a big vertical oval in the front of his body. And there's a hole that's opened on the bottom of each foot. That's where the toxins are going to come out. So the lymph fluid to me is an amber color. It's kind of globby. It reminds me of the liquid in a lava lamp. Do you remember lava lamps? Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen a lava lamp? Okay. You know how that stuff's kind of globby looking. So it's spinning. And what I equate this to is reverse osmosis purification that they do to bottled water. I think all bottled water is like tap water from New Jersey, and they just purify it and then they sell it. So that's going there. And then there's this big dome that's come down on top of him, and it's a metallic dome, covers his whole body, looks like something out of a Spider-Man movie. And it just is sucking up all of his lymph nodes that have sequestered toxins. That's what the lymph system's supposed to do. Lymph nodes look like little D3 capsules to me. So when I see one that's sequestered toxins, it's either brown or black on the inside. Can be a spot, can be the whole thing on the inside. I watch them get sucked out the top of the head, and then I watch stem cell energy get sprinkled on them, and new stem cells. Or stem cells are regenerating new lymph nodes. There's a vortex above his head, beneath his feet, on either side of him, front and behind, all spinning concurrently. So that's going to help there. All right. Heavy metal detox, 2 big magnets, U-shaped magnets on either side of him, going up and down his body. They turn a quarter of a turn until they get all the way around. They're pulling out metallic particulates. Those can look like a little speck of glitter and can be shiny. It can look like dull metal. It can look like little strands that remind me of a strand of steel in a steel wool pad. Maybe your mother or your grandmother used those to scrub pots and pans back in the day. That's what some of these strands look like that are coming out. The good news is he's not dying, because I wouldn't be able to do all these healings. So that's good. There's a guy at Boston College called Thomas Seyfried.
Okay.
You want to look him up. He's done 30 years worth of research on cancer, and he says it's not genetic. It's not like you come in with the genetic, that you're automatically going to get it. The genes get mutated from environmental exposure to things, whether that be diet or you live near a nuclear power plant sometimes or whatever. But the DNA that I watch get resequenced. Then when I go back and I work with a cancer patient, maybe in a month or 2 months or 3 months, all those strands of DNA don't come out once they've been resequenced. Maybe I'll see 1 or 2 come out, but they get resequenced really fast, because cancer likes to mutate to stay alive.
Right.
But we just stay 3 steps ahead of it. But back to Dr. Seyfried at Boston College, he says that cancer needs either glucose or fermentation to spread and to survive. So look up his research, and it's going to be really informative for you. And then I would share that with David and see what he says about that too. So hopefully that'll help. I'll be delighted to talk to him. Yeah, you bet. I'll be delighted to talk to him if you want to do an appointment. Okay.
Okay, great.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You are
Merry
most
Christmas.
welcome. You too.
Thank you.
All righty,
Bye.
everybody. That's it for this week. Sending you lots of love from Sweet Home, Alabama. Mwah. I'll see you next time. Enjoy the season. Have fun.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to follow Julie on Instagram and YouTube at Ask Julie Ryan, and like her on Facebook at Ask Julie Ryan. To schedule an appointment or submit a question, please visit AskJulieRyan.com.
This show is for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be medical, psychological, financial, or legal advice. Please contact a licensed professional. The Ask Julie Ryan Show, Julie Ryan and all parties involved in producing, recording, and distributing it assume no responsibility for listeners' actions based on any information heard on this or any Ask Julie Ryan shows or podcasts.